Hello, welcome back to the Harmony Inspired Health podcast, where we dive into women's health, Ayurveda, holistic healing, and personal evolution. Today, I'm joined by the inspiring Dr. Chris Casely, an educator, entrepreneur, and consultant with a passion for helping people unlock their potential through a fusion of science and ancient wisdom. Dr. Casely is a founder of Bella Life and author of the newly released book, My Bella Life, integrating attachment, service, and holistic health for success. Welcome to the podcast, Chris. So nice to connect with you again.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here. I appreciate you and everybody listening.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Chris and I actually studied Ayurveda together, so it's been a while since we've connected. But from the other sides of the world, we've sort of supported and watched each other grow through the journey, which is really, really nice. But can you briefly introduce your journey and what inspired you to write My Bella Life? And I know you've got such a colourful history, ballroom dancing, entrepreneurship, like all the things. Like, how have you ended up here?
Well, it's a rocky road and twisty, windy, curvy road, but I'm here. The impetus behind this basically, I think probably started when I was ballroom dancing. I did sports a lot in high school and I injured myself. And so I wasn't able to kind of pursue that as any further than high school. So I fell into ballroom dancing, and ballroom dancing, I'd never done anything like that before. And it was a little weird and scary and kind of like, why did I like this? What was going on? And I couldn't even do it. I was really, well, I probably had 3 left feet. So it was not fun, not pretty, but I kept at it. And I think the coolest thing about it that caught me right off the bat, number one was how you can just move with someone and you don't have to speak, how you can feel them. And number two, how that looks. Because if you're feeling off, you look off. If you're on the wrong beat, you look off. So there's just a lot to it. And I think that's what really inspired me on the journey, because that at that point in time, I was young, couldn't really understand the impact that had on me. And it was just fun. There was a lot of travel. There was competitive nature there that I really loved. So we competed, we traveled, we performed, and I did that throughout my entire adult life. And then yoga had always been a part of that. I'd done yoga in sports. I'd done yoga in dancing. I hadn't done yoga until, I'm sorry, I hadn't done Ayurveda until like later. And when I got into Ayurveda, it was just really, it brought everything together. It was wonderful. And so that's kind of where everything came. The dancing portion of it was really the impetus behind it, and the beauty that people can express when they're in line with their true self and with their partner. And of course, the music is next to none. It's amazing.
That's so beautiful. I've not yet heard of someone sort of merging into Ayurveda through ballroom dancing. So I love that story. It's really beautiful. And we were speaking, like before we hit record, like Ayurveda with your theories and everything that you've studied, bringing everything together. Ayurveda can really sort of just be that stable backbone that kind of pulls everything together. It's the same with the work that I do in my higher self methodology. It's like Ayurveda, it just integrates into so many different things so beautifully and effortlessly. And I guess that's just because it is the science of life. Like it is this wisdom that, is us, is nature, is everything that we do. But yeah, coming from a ballroom dancing perspective, that's so interesting the way that you've woven that story in. And I know with the work that you do, I would really like to start on the attachment theory. So can we discuss what that is and why is it so foundational to our sense of self and success?
Well, we're social creatures. That is who we are. We're not put on this earth to be alone. And therefore, because we're social creatures, we attach to things. If we decide to move on and go be a hermit somewhere, we don't have to attach to much, but we still have to attach to things. And so the non-attachment attachment theories that I propose in my book are really just a foundation, or actually, let's just say an extension of Ayurveda, because Ayurveda speaks very profoundly about, your sattva, rajas, and tamas. It speaks very profoundly about the doshas and everything that come into play and how your body interacts with the elements. And attachments, our thoughts, and our quality of our thoughts, our quality of our connections with people. Those things are the kind of attachments that can benefit us or cause us to struggle. And so John Bowlby and Mary's Ainsworth, back a very long time ago, were the pivotal researchers who coined the attachment theory. And essentially they said that there are a few different styles of attachments. There's been many other studies and researchers who have kind of elaborated, but the foundation hasn't really been touched very much. There's 3 primary and 1 secondary form of attachment. And they coincidentally in line with sattva, rajas, and tamas, and they in line with some of our Vedic concepts. So you have what they call the secure attachment. And in secure attachment, if you think of the sattvic person, they are very well mannered. They do not, they're not quick to anger. They're very trustworthy. They believe in higher things. They get along with people. They merge well with the environment. They're successful. They're popular, and they promote those types of activities, and they build upon those. Well, a lot of this happens when you're young. And sometimes we don't really know that when your relationships with your parents, which can in turn really affect your adult relationships. So it's similar to dosha, where you have this proclivity towards, vata, pitta, or kapha. You have a proclivity towards secure attachments, so you're going to get more secure. And you have a proclivity towards what they call anxious attachment. And anxious attachment happens when, well, you're not sure. There's a question. I don't know. Are you going to meet my need? Can I trust you? I'm not sure about that. And that's kind of where this anxiety comes in. And anxiety, as we know, listening to the news, plays a big role in the world today. And that happens a lot because of our attachments, our work attachments, our home attachments. And then there's avoidant. After a while, you kind of become a little bit numb. You're not meeting my needs. Yeah, that's okay. I'm going to believe you now. So I'm just going to kind of avoid closeness with you. I'm not going to not care. I'm not going to be mean. Some people are, but in general, I'm just going to avoid it. And I'm going to avoid it because I think there's going to be more pain for me. And so that's where the avoidant attachment theory comes. And then they have the last one, which is disorganized. And this usually has a lot to do with people who have been through trauma, been through, it's just all over the place. They have no real aligned method. And so these attachment theories help to describe what we're experiencing in our life and why we struggle, why we have the connections we do and the problems we do and the successes that we do. My book mainly focuses on the connection between community, holistic health, which includes Ayurveda and yoga, attachment theory, and how does that produce success? How is the performance happening? How am I dancing? How am I performing in life?
Wonderful. And from the perspective of the Ayurvedic doshas, because we know our Vikriti, so our changing dosha, the one that we're going to sort of be treating, so to speak, how is that related to those attachment styles? Would you say like the anxious and the disorganized attachment style can influence a vata vikriti, so put someone into an imbalanced state within vata, or the avoidance one, would that be more like someone who has more pitta tendencies, or it could overdrive them into a pitta imbalance?
Well, there's a lot, okay, into that. And primarily the doshas have the elements, and the elements play crucial roles in someone's actions or someone's manifestations. So for the secure attachment, if you look at it, it has a perfect balance between all 3. It has a little bit of ability to be airy. It has a little bit of spontaneity and fire in the pizza, and it also has some of the water and the earth and the kapha. And so when you get out of balance, that's when things happen. And mind you, you're dealing with 2 people now, because Ayurveda mainly speaks of like the elements and what happens and how you react or how things influence you in the disease process. But when you're connecting with people, that's essentially a storm or a sunny day or things happening in your environment. And so, as Ayurveda speaks to your environment and your inner environment, you want to address it in the way that it's showing up. So, depending on the gunas and what's showing up as far as hot, dry, cold, wet, or the tastes that are showing up, oh, that was pretty sour. Oh man, you gotta like you you of course use the theory of opposites and you bring them back into balance. And so the emotion is what comes into play here. So trust, security, honesty, all of those things are qualities of secure attachment. They're also qualities of sattva. And so if that makes any sense, you kind of work through. So your anxious attachment could be highly vata, but it could also be highly pitta because there could be a lot of anger there and vice versa. So everybody has a little different vikriti and everybody has their prakriti, which is their proclivities. And so that was established in young age. So you can change, but not so much because you're always going to like want to come back. I'm always going to be untrustworthy, just a little. And you got to prove yourself to me.
And so, how do these different attachment styles manifest in adult life, particularly in how we show up in relationships? Because you said it's like takes two to tango, so to speak, with the attachment and business and service.
Well, it shows up in a lot of ways: flakiness, flightiness, untrustworthiness, anger, resentment. Every emotion that you have, it shows up. And they're all because, well, let me just say, in my belief, they are all because we have these needs or these ideas or these thoughts that, number one, aren't true. So we may just be not envisioning things correctly. We may not be assimilating in the way we should. Number two, they're tainted. They're not true, like fully real. And so when we interact with people at work, well, okay, aren't we really trying to do something and get something from someone? Isn't the game there? So now this is where social theories come into play. And I speak of game theory and things of that nature in the book too. But when we come into groups of people, whether it's two or more, there is some sort of a thing that's happening. And what is that thing? Am I getting what I need in that thing? Am I able to, if I'm not getting it, am I able to produce it elsewhere? And how is that impacting my performance? So the way in which we think things, the quality of how we think them, and how they manifest. And so I can give you many examples. There's plenty in the book, but when you're looking at an anxious or, an anxious person who, they just need reassurance all the time. They need to be coddled a little bit. They need to be heard. I need you to let me know I was being heard. I need you to let me know you care. Reassure me, please. That's what an anxious person looks like. And of course, we know that that has a lot to do with some of the elements and the qualities of nature, qualities of our thoughts, qualities of our feelings, and our five senses. And then your avoidant person is kind of extremely cockeyed. They don't really. They're just kind of. I'm a bit nonchalant, but I'm not gonna let you get too close to me because I don't really trust you. I'm gonna do what I gotta do, but meh, you do you and I'll do me. And then of course your disorganized will just kind of be all over the place and lost themselves.
So, is the ultimate goal to move to a more secure attachment style?
Well, I would say the ultimate goal is to move towards a more secure attachment style. In reality, though, it's if you haven't been there, it's very hard to get. You're similar to Ayurveda. You have a constantly fluctuating array of variables that are just unless you've really educated yourself and really connected the dots for yourself, not listening to someone else or the news or this, that, and the other. It's very hard because no one can tell you how you feel, what you think, unless you explain it. And if you can't explain it, then you can't really fix it. And if you can't fix it, then what do you do? And so when you speak to, I'm sorry.
Oh no, you carry on because I think you might even be answering the next part. I was going to ask, like from a somatic or an Ayurvedic perspective, how do you move into a more secure attachment style?
Well, number one, you bring in sattva. So you change your diet, you change your surroundings, you change your attitude, you clean up your senses. You go through panchakarma if you have to. You do whatever happens. You adjust your herbs, you adjust your diet, you adjust your stress levels, you take a look at your excrements like we do in Ayurveda. You take a look at the eyes and the everything. Direct manifestation of our inner being. And if our relationships aren't good, we're not going to take care of ourselves to our fullest. So that's why I think Ayurveda is so profound, because none of this stuff is new. It all is just a repetition of those thoughts, those theories. And to bring about more security, you must first have trust. If you can't trust people, if you yourself can't be trusted to speak the truth, to say the truth, to be kind, you're not exemplifying qualities that are secure in nature or sattvic in nature, then you can't bring it about. And so you have to then look at, okay, am I a little bit more on the angry side? Am I a little nonchalant, like I don't care? Am I anxious? What am I feeling? Okay, so if I'm feeling that, what quality does that come to? So anxiety comes from vata. I'm going to take vata, I'm going to look at it, and I'm going to give myself a little bit more thicker foods, cooking my veggies, putting more oils on, things of that nature, grounding myself, putting rocks on my body, things of that nature that really, you know, pendants and mudras and whatever that you decide you want to do. You use that and you bring this wisdom that is just so profound, and it applies to everything. You look at the taste and you do things that either bring about balance or they exacerbate it even more, and then you get worse.
And in your book, you also talk about the importance of community and service. So, how can giving back actually support your own healing and growth?
So I'm going to tell you community service isn't necessarily the widely understood version of community service. The way I speak about community service is not just giving something to someone or doing something for someone just because they need it. What I'm discussing is taking what you have and what you can give and no one else can, and giving that, and going to your community and giving that freely. It needs to be something you can get paid for. So that needs to be your end goal, because that is who you want to find your purpose and your dharma and the things that only you are equipped and compiled to do. And that's what I'm talking about when I discuss community service, is exploiting that and making the relationships around the things you love. And this is a part of building your environment, which is the big thing about Ayurveda. We build our environment that is healthy and supports change and supports growth. And so as you do that, and as you put yourself out there in your unique combination, you're going to find people. You're going to find your tribe. You're going to find the people that you jive with most. You're going to find people that you don't. And guess what? That's okay. They're on their own journey, and you just might not be ready to cross paths yet. And a lot of times that's where tension comes, especially at work, is because at work, we are all trying to play the same game. We're trying to do what we need to do to get what we need to get done. And I'm going to use you for that. You're going to use me for that. That's okay. We need to know that. This is part of the game. Now, if we do it with love and we say, yeah, I'm going to use you, but I'm going to also respect you, and I'm going to let you trust me, and I'm going to trust you, then we start to impact people one person at a time. And we start to change our environment. And we go actually out into the community and be you. And if you're going out there and you're being you, that's what we're here for. And that's how you can produce better people in this world.
And drawing on your Bella Life methodology, so you said you've got like these three connected or interchanging facets of what contributes to holistic success. So for someone wanting to live more holistically, emotionally, physically, spiritually, what's one place that they can start today? How do they start to bring this all together?
Well, I do show a lot of frameworks in the book. I highlight a lot of different methods and methodologies of attaining success. And that's why attachment theory, Ayurveda, and yoga and all of that is really important because they offer an elegant way. There are other tools that are available to us in the business world and the education world. And I've taken some of those theories, social constructs, and ideas that come together. And what I would say is the biggest, most profound thing we can do is become aware, open up, pay attention, look at what it is. Don't turn your head and say, oh, I can't believe that. Look at it. Now, if someone did something, what had to be true for them to do that, for us not to understand? There's something that had to be true. There's a disconnect that we are not feeling. And so if I want to change, I have to open my aperture. I have to see it. I have to be able to diagnose it. Okay, is this scary? Are they just scared? Are they acting this way because they're scared? Are they avoidant me? They don't really want me to disappoint them? They think I'm going to hurt them? Are they strong-willed because they're trying to mask something? And so, number one, that would be the biggest thing, to just become aware. Number two would be to start developing systems. Fix your environment so that you can succeed. Get in front of the people that you want to have in your life. Go out to the community, offer something that you can do that no one else can. Take in what other people can do that no one else can. Use the commercial landscape in your community to help build your environment. And thirdly, keep looking, keep studying, keep doing everything a little bit better, one day at a time. As long as you're aware of the process, the journey is the beautiful aspect of it.
Thank you. I want to wrap it up with, I guess, a big question, but I want to ask you personally, how do you define a truly fulfilling life, and what is your vision of holistic success for yourself?
Well, I would probably volley that back and say, well, it depends on what I'm looking for and what I'm doing. But if I was to be honest and kind of give a general statement, it would be that I experienced sattva, that I experienced security, that I showed people security, that I left an impact on someone's life, that my example helped someone else. It wasn't just there for a moment. It was actually there for a reason. And when I understand the reason, that's how would say it. You have to understand your reason and fully exploit it. Perform everywhere. Dance your heart out.
And actually, where did the name Bella Life come from? I'm curious
So,
about that.
well, Bella's beautiful.
Yeah, that's
Everything's
what I was
beautiful.
wondering.
It came from everything is beautiful. It is basically just, it's a beautiful life. My first dance studio, when I opened up my dance studio, it was called Bella Studio of Performing Arts. It's a beautiful studio of performing arts. Bella has been morphed into many different things, and it culminates into this Bella Life.
Beautiful. So nice. And where can people find your book or more about you, listen to your podcast, all of those type of things?
Well, thank you for asking. Season 2 of the podcast is coming out on release of the book. So that's actually going to be May 1st. The book is releasing on May 1st. You can find the book on chriscasely.com. I am going to open up to Amazon and everything much later on because I'm trying to keep it holistic and in my own sphere of influence for the time being. But that's where you can find the book and all of my other ventures and opportunities. I am doing continual research, so I have anybody can participate in the research. You can do it anonymously by filling out a quick survey, or you could be a part of the actual hardcore research, which does include, they're all anonymous, but it includes more personalized connections. So you can find that on my chriscasely.com website too.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all of your beautiful wisdom with us. It was so lovely to connect again. And by the time this episode is released, Chris's book will be out. So go grab yourself a copy. His website will be in the show notes below. And I think my book will also be coming out very shortly, if not, yeah. Yay.
Everybody buy
Ayurveda.
Harmony's book.
In The Alchemy of Her, it's a revolutionary guide to women's health, hormones, and Dharma. So go and buy our books.
Yay!
Exciting. Yay. Thank you so much, everyone listening. And thank you so much, Chris, for coming along.
Thank you so much for